It's a sad one for me to hear that you are fading Breece Hall. Why don't you share kind of your thoughts on why you're fading Breece Hall? Because the guy's going right now, I think as of last night, he's going 30th overall in FFPC. Why are you fading him? And is this a rule-based fade or is this just a gut feel?
No, this one's a rule-based fade. So any player coming off of ACL type of surgery, I'm always fading the first year back. The production, the stats say that the production's just not there the first year back. I understand that he's an elite type of running back, and he's very talented, and he's young. So the recovery process should go over well. But I'll give you an example. Last year, J.K. Dobbins was a fade for me. And you saw, he came back, felt like it was a little too early, had some complications. And then you started seeing him kind of go back to his old self late in the year. So I like Breece Hall. I think he's a good player. And I think that he will get better as the season goes on, but third round pick, second round pick, possibly, I'm just out on him this year.
No, Nelson, is there correlation with the fade here? So if you're out on Breece Hall, are you in on a backup Jets running back or not necessarily?
Yeah, I'm always going to look. I like hedging. Yeah. So I'm looking at a Michael Carter, Unveil Knight, guys like that towards the end of the draft. If I'm fading a running back for sure. Yeah.
No, I love that. So if you're off of a guy, by definition, you should be on another guy. I think that's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as Nelson, although I think that at times you have to make exceptions because we do have outliers like the Adrian Peterson year, or we have the Jamal Charles years. And so there is exceptions to the rule. It is very unlikely there's an exception to the rule. That being said, we saw some news yesterday that Breece Hall was clocked on Next Gen going 22 miles per hour, 8 months post-surgery, and it got my attention. If you would have asked me 3 days ago, I'd probably be more inside Nelson's corner on this discussion. But after seeing that type of speed, 8 months removed from surgery, Breece Hall's young enough, talented enough. I think we could possibly have another exception to the rule this year. It's not a running back I want to bet against, especially given how well he performed last year and how efficient he was, especially given the stoutness of the defense. I think that you could argue that the beginning of the season may start off slow for him, which is what I've expected in my projections. But when it matters most, he might be one of the most dynamic backs in the league down the stretch, and it might kill us inside the fantasy championships if we don't own him. So I agree with Nelson. 9.9 out of 10 times, this might be that 1% where I say I have to take some shares. It's not a player that I want to beat me, right? There's several players year in and year out. Chris Godwin was one for me last year. I said, I'm going to make the guy beat me. And here we are, 2023. I'm afraid to have Breece Hall not on my roster, at least to own some shares. I'm not going to go out and own 30%, but I might own 20%, 19%. I want to have some ownership just because he is that kind of player that I think could beat me inside the run down the championship.
I will make a small rebuttal. The thing is, the easiest thing for them to do coming off surgery and their recovery is to run in a straight line and even run fast. My issue is more about his lateral agility and quickness and being able to plant and cut and go upfield. That's the part where there's going to be weakness in that leg, in that knee, and he's going to be favoring it physically and mentally. So there's some hurdles to go, for him to, jump over first before, that's why you see the transformation of the running back getting better as the season goes on.
Yep.
That's my only thing. My thing is, if I'm taking, a guy like that, I don't mind taking a player like that could be like a second half, hero, but you're taking him in the third round to do that. And when you take a player in the third round, like I'm looking for him from day one to be productive in my lineup.
Yeah, I'll take a middle of the road approach from both of your answers. I don't think he's a full fade for me, although I do have a lot of reservations based on a lot of the stuff Nelson said, and also the fact that Nelson has him on the fade list makes me a little bit more hesitant to draft him, to be completely honest. But I will say that like we see the market adjust so quickly. So the fact that I kind of liked him at like 30th overall, even within the last 5 days to a week, he moves up. So when he starts going at that end of the second round, then you're talking about him versus Tony Pollard, him versus Chris Olave, Devonta Smith, T. Higgins, and the elite quarterbacks in FFPC drafts. So it's kind of like do I want to take a guy that I think could average 20 points per game based on the elite talent he displayed last year? Or do I want to take a guy that has no injuries and is going to produce like a mega stud where that sweet spot right now at that 2-3 turn? So I'm quite kind of in the middle there.
That video, be sure to subscribe and activate those alerts so you get notified as soon as new videos drop. And be sure to check out playerprofiler.com. We have all the tools for you to dominate every type of fantasy league. We have a draft kit, Dynasty Deluxe, data analysis, DFS Dominator, and don't forget the player rankings to rule them all.